All right, welcome back, everybody. I hope quarantine's treating you well. Today we're going to talk about more exponent properties, specifically the property of raising a power to another power. So for today, we're going to take these notes, and then I have a short Delta Math assignment for you guys to do that's part of today's assignment. Then tomorrow and Wednesday, I think it's both tomorrow and Wednesday, you'll have a Delta, yeah, it is tomorrow and Wednesday. You'll have a Delta Math assignment both days. So let's start with our notes here. So powers of powers. When you raise an exponent to its own exponent, so something that has an exponent being raised to an exponent, I'll show you what that looks like. So I'm raising an exponent to its own exponent, the powers multiply. So when you're multiplying two bases or two things together that have the same base, the exponents add. So multiplication goes to adding. It kind of like makes a step down. When you divide, you subtract again, like a step down from divide. So when you're raising a power to a power, step down from a power would be multiplication. And let's show you exactly what that means here. Let's start with something that's pretty tangible. Let's start with, say, 3 to the 4th, and I'm going to take this entire thing and raise it to the second power. So this would be the same thing as doing 3 to the 4th, which is 3 times itself 4 times. So 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times itself. So times another set of 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So we're doing 3 to the 4th squared, which means 3 to the 4th times 3 to the 4th. Now this ends up being 3, and then for the power, I just have to count up how many of them I have here. The parentheses don't matter in this case because I'm multiplying. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the exponent ends up being 3 to the 8th. Okay? And now you could also see that as 3 to the 4th squared, and then just rewrite that as 3 to the 4 times 2, but it helps to see it expanded like this, I think. And 4 times 2 is 8, so this is 3 to the 8th. You guys are wondering where Yoda is. She's actually behind me, but she's asleep right now. Okay, now there's a big caution mark for this, because I'm sure some of you are like, okay, that sounds fine. The big caution mark is that this is true for variables. So if it's like, say, x to the 4th squared, it becomes x to the 8th. Hey, come on now. For variables, but I'm going to actually write this in capital letters. But you must distribute the exponent, meaning if you have more than one thing inside of a set of parentheses, the exponent needs to apply to everything inside that set of parentheses. So let's take a look at an example here. Let's say I'm going to do 6x to the 3rd y, and I'm going to do this whole thing squared. Now I could rewrite this as this times itself, but there's a shorter way to do it, and that's fine if it's squared, but what if it were like to the 5th power? I wouldn't want to have to write this out, 5 times and then multiply it all together. So each of these things inside is going to be raised to the second power individually. So let's start with 6, because that's its own thing. So 6 to the second power. Next, I'm going to do x to the 3rd to the second power, and then plain y to the second power. Now 6 to the second power shouldn't be too bad. 6 times 6, which is 36. X to the 3rd to the second power, we just learned that because we're doing a power to a power, we can now multiply those two together, and this will become x to the 6th, right? And if it's plain y with no exponent, well, we know there's really a 1 there. And so if we multiply these powers, that becomes y to the 2nd. Okay? Let's take a look at how this is going to work as far as Delta Math goes. Okay, so your assignment for this is going to be just 5 of these examples as part of today, and then you'll have a repeat, which is a longer like review assignment tomorrow and Wednesday. So this week is like all powers to powers. What's going on? So okay, here we go. We've got 4x squared y to the 5th, and then this whole thing is being raised to the 3rd. So that means we need to raise everything to the 3rd individually. So I'm going to start with the number 4. So 4 to the 3rd is going to be the number part. Now I'm going to look at x squared. So I've got x squared to the 3rd. And then y to the 5th to the 3rd. So I've got y to the 5th to the 3rd. Now let's find out what these are going to be. Now 4 to the 3rd, I don't know what that is off the top of my head. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. 64. X squared to the 3rd is going to be x to the 2 times 3, which is x to the 6th. Y to the 5th to the 3rd is y to the 5 times 3, which is y to the 15th. So now entering that, again, you're going to have to either remember how to do the keyboard shortcut with this a to the b to do these exponents, or on your keyboard, if you do Shift 6, it'll let you do an exponent. So let's do 64x to the 6th. And remember, you have to arrow out of that exponent so you're not stuck in there. And then y to the 15th. And there we go. So if you need help with this, please let me know. You can email me, we can start a Google Hangout, whatever. And yeah, I hope this video finds you well, and have yourselves a wonderful day.